What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of
Fantasy football. Oh, no.
It's me, Thomas Christopher, and my host Brandon Haye. Brandon, how you doing, man? Let everybody know where they can find you at.
Yeah, I'm doing good. You can find me on Twitter at HeyB3 and find me at DLF. Should be putting out a profile either tomorrow or the next day on Josh Downs. I did one on my boy Jaden Reed before, and then Josh Downs. And then starting this week, every Friday, I will have a weekly Devi article on buy, sell, and hold. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see your Josh Downs one. If you've listened to the podcast before, you know that Josh Downs is probably one of my favorite wide receivers in the draft. And I'm Thomas Christopher from the League Winners, also at JetsXFactor, GangGreenNation.com. You can check me at ThomasCP_NFL.com. Yeah, not NFL.com. But anyways, so the podcast has been on a kind of a little hiatus. For those who weren't aware, I had to do a bit of a move. I had to cancel on Brandon short notice. So Brandon, my apologies on that one, buddy. But in the new spot now, my cat's underneath me drinking her water, and I'm hoping she isn't a pain in the ass during this. So we'll see how it goes. So I want to get in. We missed a lot of stuff since the last time we talked. You know, Dalvin Cook got released by the Minnesota Vikings. Do you I know you've heard that Josh Jacobs and like Saquon Barkley are talking about like holding out and all this stuff to get big running back deals. And I know Dalvin Cook said he doesn't, or through his agent rather, said he doesn't want to take like a cheap deal. Do you think he's going to get what he thinks he's worth, or do you think he's going to have to settle for like a shitty contract?
I don't know about shitty, but he's not going to get what he wants. He's hurt at least 3 or 4 games a year. He's not already on a team. So Jacobs and Barkley more. I mean, who are they going to play at running back if he doesn't play? And at least with Jacobs, they signed Zamir White last year, or maybe they drafted Zamir White last year, so they have that. But he said from what I saw, he said he wasn't going to take a $5 million contract. $5 million a year contract. I don't know what he wants. Have you heard what he exactly wants? What does he want? What's the highest running back contract right now? Is that McCaffrey?
I would assume it's McCaffrey right now. Yeah.
It's probably still not even that high.
Not for like what we've seen in the past. So Jacobs says he's gonna do all these things too, but I don't. Do you think he's gonna actually like hold? Do you think these guys are gonna actually hold out or not play a season? Because even Barkley was saying like, "Hey, I might not sitting out of the 23 season is like an option that I could do." Do you think he's just saying that to try to posture, or do you think he will like? Because I know that the running backs honestly are pissed that they're like their values being worth nothing, and honestly, I don't blame them. It's a position that takes like one of the most punishment in the NFL, and for the elite guys, I think they should get paid. It doesn't help that running backs can kind of be a dime a dozen if you're not elite. But do you think that they're actually going to set out, or do you think they're posturing?
So just to update, I don't know if he's the highest paid, but Christian McCaffrey, this year he's only making under $2 million, but the next 2 years he's making around 12. So I guess they maybe they restructured and whatever. I'm guessing what the teams are going to have to do is, I think Barkley definitely should get paid. I mean, he was that offense, but the offense is better, so maybe they think they don't have to. And with the Raiders, I don't know why the Raiders wouldn't just pay him, because the Raiders pay everybody. They love to throw money out there. So, and he's a big part of that offense. And if I was McDaniels, I would want him because, I mean, are they going to let McDaniels like lose 2 straight years? I mean, they paying all that money for Devontae. I mean, I guess if it doesn't work this year, Devontae's going to want out. So it's weird because I think Barkley and Jacobs aren't like your type of normal divas that would hold out. But right. I understand what they're doing because Barkley got franchised and Jacobs is in the last year of his deal, right?
think they're trying to give Jacobs the franchise tag as well. I think so.
Okay.
I know
Well,
it's
either
not.
way, yeah.
Yeah, I know it's. So do you think Cook gets like a McCaffrey type deal? How do you think that plays out?
No way he gets a McCaffrey type deal. I mean, I think Dalvin Cook's very good, but I mean, I think you're looking at a 1-year deal with him, and then maybe they give him another 2-year deal. I just don't think you're because he didn't make it through his last deal. He only re-signed like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And let's just take the money part out of it. Where would you want to see Dalvin Cook?
I mean, if we're taking money out of it, I'd want to see him on the Jets just to have some
They
type
don't.
of
They don't need.
insurance.
They don't need him. They have like a million running backs, and he didn't play on the Packers, so they're not going to sign him. Did you say they signed Amos
He
today?
didn't even. Yeah.
They're even signing defensive players for the Packers.
Yeah. So I mean, if we're talking about like best spot, I mean, even as a Jets fan, this is kind of what sucks saying, but like, I think the Dolphins would be a great spot for him. I mean, they drafted what's this kid's name? Devin Kane, I think his last name is.
Yeah, Shane. Yeah.
Shane, yeah. And he's a quick little speedster kid. He reminds me of that other dude that they traded for the Raiders. Oh shoot, it's gonna slip my mind now. He was another like kind of gadget, scat back-ish, wide receiver, running back hybrid kind of player. And I'm gonna space on his name completely now. But I don't see a future for him in the NFL. Like Mostert and was it Jeff Wilson are there too, but like those guys are freaking older than dirt. And I know Dalvin Cook is he's not that young either, but I know
I don't think they're that old.
Mostert's like 31.
His number's 31. Are you sure you're not getting confused?
I'm about to check right now. Raheem Mostert, and we'll see.
I don't think Jeff Wilson's that old.
Raheem Mostert is 31.
Okay, you lucked out.
Jeff Wilson's 28, so he's the same age as Dalvin Cook. So, or 27, rather. Sorry.
How much money? I don't know their cap situation. I know we said take the money out of it, but
it's like little shitty contracts.
But I mean, they just traded for Jalen Ramsey. They got Tyreek. They're going to have to up Waddle. I mean, if they're going to keep Tua, they're going to eventually have to do that. I mean, Dalvin would have to take that cheap deal if he really wants to go back to Miami. He's talked about doing that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a team that needs a starting running back that would pay him that kind of money.
That's where I'm stuck at too, because like the Miami thing makes sense from that standpoint, but then like if you take that out and you try to look at the rest of the running back landscapes, it's kind of like.
What about the Commanders? Would they pay him?
I've heard rumors that they were interested in him, but I don't know if they'd pay him. I mean, they just drafted freaking Robinson. They drafted your boy Rodriguez too in this draft. Maybe. I mean, it wouldn't hurt them, I guess, but like it's bizarre because every team that could use a running back has like already said that they wouldn't pay him. I believe the Bills already said that they're out on him, and the Chiefs said they're out on him. The Broncos said they're out on him. So that right there are like the three teams that I thought that maybe he could have had a chance to go to, but they've already said that they're out on him. And then I don't think the Jets are in on him, but then Robert Saleh was like, we're doing our due diligence, but at the same time, if Cook wants that contract.
Saleh never says anything. I know
he's a man of nothing.
He just, you know what? I was really excited for him when he became the coach, but he's kind of just like blah to me now.
He's kind of like a yes man. I feel like he's trapped in the same situation that Eric Mangini was in, where he's gonna. I mean, I know he wanted Aaron Rodgers. It's kind of different because Mangini didn't want Brett Favre, but I know Saleh wants Aaron Rodgers. So he's but from the same time, I've heard that they really wanted Derek Carr before that happened because of like potential longevity and all that. I think that's why.
Well, they screwed that up. If they had gone all in on Derek Carr, they'd have Derek Carr right now. But they were like, hey, we're kind of looking, and he knew who they were looking at. I mean, he's not an idiot. And I think Derek Carr, after the Raiders situation, he wanted someone that was like going to be like, we're all in on you. And they didn't do that. I actually think the Saints might be like kind of sneaky this year offensively, because you saw what Olave did last year, with whatever they're throwing out at quarterback, the ghost of Andy Dalton. And,
Yeah.
And they have some pieces there that, I think they could be pretty good. Would Tampa Bay do it?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's like a dark horse. I didn't even think about them. Because
But
I mean,
does
they have Rashad White, but his like efficiency numbers were fucking horrible, man. Like
I
they
would
were
hate it
bad.
because that would be the end of my boy Sean Tucker, at least for the next couple of years, because he wouldn't get any playing time. But what are the Bucks trying to do right now? Are they trying to win?
I mean, maybe
They have old pieces, but I don't know if you saw that video, that practice video of Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask.
Oh my god!
It was like they missed like wide open players, and I was like,
Oh my
I
god!
I kind of think they might need to blow that up, but it kind of seems like they can't blow it up, but
they're pretty hamstrung. I can't get over that video because Kyle Trask's form is still like horrendously bad. Dude kicks his leg up after like 5-yard passes. And like, bro, how do you not know how to like drag your back foot in on a 5-yard pass for like momentum shift?
We are getting way off tangent.
I know.
I don't know how what happened in Cleveland mess Baker up this bad? Because I know like Baker wasn't great, but he was a above average quarterback. He can't make easy throws anymore.
Well, you saw him get replaced in Carolina.
But I mean, then he had those couple games in LA where he looked, pretty good. And I was like, all right. And Tampa Bay is probably the best spot for him to kind of rebuild himself. But I'm just like, I don't know. Sometimes it's a mental thing. I think for him it might be, and he's just totally shot. Because he's not the most talented, physically talented player. So he kind of had to do that whole, chip on my shoulder, all that stuff. And he had to be, fundamentally sound. And it doesn't look like he's that way anymore. Back to the Dalvin thing. I don't know. Do you think the Texans level players, do you think the Texans would do it?
That's another good one, man. Like, it's so bizarre.
But
there's so many options. Like, it all depends on, like, I feel like what he wants for a contract. Like, I think that's what it comes down to. I mean, if he really wants to be a Super Bowl, play on a Super Bowl team, I just don't see him taking the contract necessary for him to be on a Super Bowl team. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially
does he want to win? Like, do you think
that's a good question?
Because some players want to win. Like, it's obvious, but I don't know if that's really what he wants. Another team would be Arizona, but they're rebuilding kind of. So I would doubt that, they would do it. Maybe the Rams. I think he'd be great in that system.
The Rams. That's what I'm saying. Like, I know we talked about like from before when we were starting to hit on wide receiver rooms and like how open a lot of these were, but like the more we're talking about this and the situation that Dalvin Cook, like his potential landing spots could be, it really opens the door to see like how many running back rooms don't have an elite running back. It's like bizarre. And so I think it depends on if he wants to win. If he wants to win, he's gonna go somewhere cheap, and if he doesn't, we'll see him on like the fucking Texans on like an $8 million deal.
Would he go? Would the Patriots sign him?
I don't think so.
I mean, if they could sign him for $5 million, I could see them pairing him up with Stevenson.
That'd be like a great duo. I don't know if Belichick is gonna pay that much money for a running. I mean, Belichick does weird shit all the time, but I don't think thinks he's that much smarter than people right now. Like to go after to pay a running back.
I don't know. He's brought in like older running backs before. I know it's been a while, but like Corey Dillon, Fred Taylor, those type of players. But I don't know those contracts, But we're saying we're taking the contract out. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think this might be something that doesn't get Fitz or he doesn't sign. Like Zeke hasn't signed yet either, right?
No, he hasn't.
And Leonard Fournette.
Yep, still in free agent.
So of those three, you'd probably pick Dalvin, Zeke, and then Fournette, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, they say Zeke
Maybe,
is shot, but
maybe
I don't know.
Fournette over Zeke, but it's probably pretty close. Because
Yeah,
even if Zeke's shot, they're still the same type of running back, like a
yeah.
physical guy.
Oh,
That
I agree.
yeah,
I think I trust Zeke more than. I mean, even
hmm
though Fournette has a Super Bowl now, I guess with Brady, but I just trust Zeke more as like a team kind of player. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he'd
yeah.
be more willing to do stuff for the benefit of the team, whereas I don't think Leonard Fournette's going to really do that.
While
So,
we're like this is kind of transition to, but I think the Vikings make horrible personnel decisions.
in what way other than the releasing Cook?
Well, did you hear that they like Hunter's upset that he's not going to get paid, but they
Wayne
just
Hunter?
signed no the defensive end Daniel Hunter,
No, Daniel Hunter. Yes, that's what I meant.
and they just signed Davenport from New Orleans, gave him a big contract, and he like barely has any stats.
I
So
didn't know that.
it's kind of like I don't think they should let Thielen go either.
I don't think so either. I think that was I don't
Because he didn't
understand
get
that
that
one.
big of a contract, and
Mm.
I think there are I don't know. I think they're just that team that like they're always going to be good, like 2 out of 3 years. But like when it comes down to it, they just aren't built to win like or go deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, like Dallas fans are gonna be pissed on me, but like in a lot of ways, the Vikings remind me of the Cowboys in that in that sense where they have really elite pieces. Like, I mean, I want to Dak and Kirk are like at an above average level of quarterback play for me. I think people, the Cowboys fans are gonna hate me. I think Kirk's
I
a
think
better
Kirk
quarterback.
I think Kirk overall is a better passer.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think
Cool. I'm on the same
I
page.
think he's a better passer. I think it's a little unfair sometimes the criticism he gets for the playoffs because
Yeah.
so I think Dak should get more criticism because he's truly choked in the playoffs. Like
Yeah.
Kirk's played well in playoff games and lost, and especially these years with Micah Parsons, that defense was legit. The Vikings defense hasn't been good in forever, and so well. And since we're talking about the Vikings, I know we discussed talking about Alexander Madison, which I saw someone on Twitter say that in their draft, Alexander Madison went in the first round.
No way.
Once Dalvin
Really?
Cook got cut, someone like picked him like pick seven.
Oh no.
Hey, I'm a fan of Alexander Madison, but that is crazy,
That's
just
insane.
crazy.
And then that was Dynasty.
I'm guessing even in redraft, I don't pick him first round.
Well, no, but it would be like less crazy. I feel like in redraft.
Yeah, still crazy, but not
Yeah.
as
Oh yeah.
crazy.
I love Madison too, but I mean to be fair though, when he's played more than 50% of snaps, he's put up like 20. He's like averaged like 23 fucking points per game in PPR
But
leagues.
how many games has that been? Probably
Oh, that's
two a
fair.
year.
Yeah, I did it in my article that I did for League Winners, and it was yeah, it wasn't too much. I think it was like 7 total. So super small sample size, obviously, but
And he better watch out. My boy Ty Chandler's coming for his job.
do you think it's gonna be Chandler to be the number 2, like to supplant him?
I think so. Who else is there? I know you like what's
Dwayne
his name?
McBride, baby, UAB, my
I
man
think
Chris
Ty I just
Ivory
think
Jr.
oh gosh. Oh, I can't say the story on air, but when Chris Ivory was in Jacksonville, he had a very interesting injury in Jacksonville. We couldn't
No,
play. I'll have to tell you off air,
I gotta
but
hear
yeah.
that.
But anyway, um,
I love Ivory.
I guess Madison's a slasher, and Chandler is also. So I guess that's how McBride. But I think Chandler's speed really surprised me at the combine last year,
He
and
ran a
I think
4.38, right?
yeah, and his when he moved on his senior year, I thought he looked really good at North Carolina.
Yeah.
With Howell. So I think it'll be interesting how that really goes. I think Madison's probably the more pure runner, but I think Chandler could get a lot of passes. I think Chandler could turn into the Madison, when Dalvin Cook was there, and it could be even a little bit more of a split because Madison is not as good of a running back as Dalvin Cook, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'll give you the third down role. I I'm hoping McBride can do well because I just think he was an elite, like pure running back coming out. He reminds me a lot of Chris Ivory. Just a body, like the way they're built as well. They're just big, bruising kind of guys. They have a little bit of an upright running style, but they kind of brush guys off of them.
How many running backs like that are there anymore?
That's a good point. Well, that's why I'm thinking. Like, I know I can't say I know, but I have a feeling that he's gonna be like a short yardage guy this year. Maybe if he can prove to be more than that, because like despite him only running like what was it, like a low 4.5 or something like that. I don't even think he ran at the combine if I'm not mistaken. But he was still pulling off like 75-yard touchdown runs in college despite that. So he has the breakaway long speed when he can get there. It just I want to know how that's gonna play out, but. Fuck! I really don't want to. I don't want to admit you're going to be right with your buddy there, but I'm going to say
And I
McBride's
think
going to be.
I think they want to pass the ball too because they obviously got Justin Jefferson. They drafted Jordan Addison. They still have Osborne. They got Hawkinson, right? Yeah, they have Hawkinson. Yeah. I think they might want to move towards more of a passing offense. So maybe that's kind of what they do there. But it'll be interesting. I know a lot of people with Madison. I have Madison in a couple of leagues. Are super excited about that. But you never know because sometimes those second running backs when they get that contract or when they get the chance to start, they aren't as good when they have to start every week.
Yep. That's something I mean, as much as we both love Madison, that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on during the season to see if he can keep up at the pace that they're expecting him to be, and if not, if it's going to be the Chandler, McBride, or maybe Keeney, can't pronounce his last name, but the third running back.
Returner. The one that returns kicks.
Which doubt that, but we'll see. So another topic I want to do, it's something I also saw on Twitter, is this David, I think his name is Gutierrez or something like that. He kind of got Twitter riled up a bit by saying, Treylon Burks is better than the entirety of the Carolina wide receiver group. If you guys missed our other podcast, or our last podcast, actually, I forgot we missed some time. You got to hear Brandon talk a lot of shit about the Titans and their wide receiver room.
They're trash. They are trash.
So I want to ask you, do you think Treylon Burks is better than the Carolina Panthers receiving group as a whole, just with him?
So, what does that mean? Does that mean, I want to know what that meaning is. Saying is he's better than any of their receivers? Because right now he's not. He has the potential to be. He's not better than DJ Chark or Adam Thielen right now. And I think he has better potential than Jonathan Mingo. People have been going crazy with him, even you included, picking him above my boy Jaden Reed. And people keep on saying he's going to be the next AJ Brown. He's not the next AJ Brown. They went to the same school, but that's and they're both bigger receivers, but he doesn't have the same athleticism as him. But yeah, I don't know. I do know there is a huge cult following of Treylon Burks, and there has been ever since he started playing at Arkansas, especially the Debbie community, because he's just an athletic freak, and he still doesn't know how to play that wide receiver position. I have heard the Titans say that he's coming in way better prepared. I don't know if you heard the story. He had to get a commercial flight to get it to training camp or mini camp, and he made all that and then drove. So that shows dedication. And I think he was probably out of shape when he came last year with all the, asthma type things last year. I think Treylon Burks could be really good. But, I think that's just a little bit of an outlandish type statement. Does he have the best potential? Yes. But, Adam Thielen's had a good career. DJ Chark has had, pretty good couple years, and he's still young. So, there's still a lot of room for that. That is very interesting. But I will say, if you were going to say anyone on the Titans wide receiving core, he's the only one that is worth anything. The rest of them, are waiver wire guys. They really shouldn't be rostered.
Yeah,
in most formats.
I'm going to take it a step further. I mean, I know people really like Traylon Burks. I don't think he's going to be shit. I don't think he's going to be shit. I don't think he's going to be a wide receiver 1 at any point in his career. Like any point. I think he caps out as a wide receiver 2. And even then, like that's being generous. The team's like in a full rebuild. I don't know if they're going to have the passers to do it because, I mean, I like Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill is good, but he's going out the door. And then Will Levis is there. And I don't believe in Will Levis either.
Trash.
So I think as much as I do believe that Traylon Burks is a great athlete, I don't think he's a great wide receiver, and I don't think that he's going to get the help necessary to become a great wide receiver, at least for fantasy football. He could be like a reliable guy maybe for them. Even then, I'm not completely sold. He seems like a good kid, though, so I don't want to like trash him as a player. But for fantasy purposes,
it sounds like you're trashing him as a player.
But for fantasy purposes, I'm staying the fuck away from him. And I'll ring that. I think that's going to be like my flag for this year is that he's not even going to be top 24. I hope I'm wrong. We'll find out. So I want to go.
Oh, you're saying he won't be top 24 this year?
Well, I don't think he'll be. Yeah. I think ever. I don't think he'll ever be a top 12 wide receiver. I think he maxes out in like a wide receiver 2 range, which considering his draft capital and like how people hype him, I don't think that's good enough. You know what I mean?
Well, technically, I mean, that's the same as DJ Chark and Adam Thielen. So it's not that far off if you say that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Chark was a wide receiver 2 that year. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
I mean, Chark was, I think he was drafted 2nd round. And Thielen, obviously he's one of those guys that, was he even drafted?
I don't think I don't think so, actually. Maybe 7th round. I know it was like, if he was drafted, it was like late. But
yeah,
I think Mingo's going to be better than Burks.
Oh, come on.
I think Mingo's going to be better than Burks.
I'm going to have to start calling you trash with these takes.
We might have to put a bet on that. You want to put a bet on it this year?
Oh, just this year? Oh, yeah. How much you want to put on it?
What do you want to do? $20, $30?
Yeah, we'll do 30.
30.
And are we just talking about fantasy points?
Yeah, let's just stick to fantasy for now.
Well, let's do like if they both play. How many games? 10.
Minimum 10 games. Yeah, same as we did with the Juju bet.
Oh man, I was so gonna win that bet.
All right,
I was gonna win that bet.
All right, so it's in stone now. Most points, $30 between Traylon Burks and Jonathan Mingo. Oh, that's going to be interesting. Well, I got all my money on Bryce Young pulling out the works this year. So, okay, last really subject I want to talk about, because I know we're getting a little close on time, is Christian Watson and Jayden Reed. We've talked about it a bit before on the podcast at some points. Do you think Jayden Reed can be the number one? Is what I'm mostly intrigued to hear your opinion on, or do you think do you believe in the Christian Watson hype?
Oh, I don't believe in the hype in that some people are saying he's like a top 8 receiver. I believe him and Reed could be like co wide receiver ones. Different, but. It all depends on Jordan Love, but from what they've been saying, Christian Watson looks good. The biggest thing with Christian Watson is he was very raw coming out of college. He had difficulty, with his hands in college, and you even saw some of it last year. He did fix it, but I mean, you're just going to need to see that consistency. I just think Jayden Reed is way more polished, route running in all technical aspects as a receiver. They're obviously different guys. Reed's probably going to be, like I said, the slot. Watson more down the field and on the outside. But I don't know if I'm speaking with my heart right now, but I think Reed. I like Reed better at this point in, or at least projecting how that offense is going to run. But sounds like they really like their tight ends they drafted too. So. I have no idea what that offense is going to look like with Jordan Love.
Do you think they have the potential of being like a Chris Godwin, Mike Evans kind of duo, where Reed takes the Godwin role, kind of that intermediate short route kind of stuff, and then Watson does like the nine route Mike Evans kind of role, or do you think like neither of them are
I
good enough
mean,
to do that?
poor man's
Poor
duo
man's
like that.
version.
I think it could be. I think Evans is more physical, but I think Watson is faster.
Yeah.
So I guess you kind of really tailor that part. But yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening.
So your boy Romeo Dobbs said that Jordan Love was better than Aaron Rodgers. Is basically the same thing. I don't fucking think that's true. So I'm a lot more timid on the expectations of those guys. I think
Maybe he meant like a better person, like better
fuck.
personality. Like I'm sure because Aaron Rodgers probably chewed. I saw him chew out Dobbs a ton of times. So maybe he's
Yeah.
like he doesn't yell at me all the time. I mean, what? But what do you want him to say? Like,
Fair.
how is that framed? I'm sure they didn't say. Did they say how does he compare to Aaron Rodgers? You can't say, oh, he's so much worse. Like as his teammate, you can't say that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair. But you could have said like, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not gonna, compare Jordan Love to
Yeah.
an obvious future Hall of Famer. Jordan Love hasn't played more than like 5. Has he played more than 5 games total in his career yet?
Oh no, I don't think he
He's
has.
played like 3, right? Or something like 2.
Yeah,
It's
at
like
least
not a
2.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not that much.
Yeah, so I mean, we've already discussed my disdain for Christian Watson and like the Watson followers because he's got like a cult. He's like the Traylon Burke cult is like similar to the Christian Watson cult, but like Christian Watson followers are fucking nutty, dude. Like the guy after his span of like those great games where he put up those 3 touchdown performances, blah 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 blah. The dude was like a wide receiver 4 or 5 in the rest of the games for the season. So like where you know what I mean? Like why that sustainability, I don't see that, especially with a quarterback that even if Love is half as good as Rodgers, even if Love is good, like he's not gonna be at the level that Aaron Rodgers is, at least not now. Maybe, in a year or two, we'll see. But if I'm talking like just strictly this year or two, I don't see it. I see Jaden Reed I really want Jaden Reed to be a guy that feasts in the middle of the field and just fucking soak up points in PPR, which I think he's capable of doing. But we'll see how it goes. So we'll have to
Well,
touch base
I don't
on that.
understand how people like pick and choose the argument of, if someone's the only like receiving option, someone's like, well, you got to give him the ball all the time. But then other times with people, they say, well, once, other good receivers get in there, he's not going to have that target share. Like they're making it like Watson's always going to have that target share, but they added those 2 tight ends. Dobbs is going to be better. They added Jaden Reed. I mean, he shouldn't. He's not going to get 60-yard touchdowns all the time. That's just not feasible to happen all the time. That's like Tyreek Hill status, and
Yeah,
he's just not going to be able to do that. I mean, I think he could be a top. I think it'll be probably a top 24 receiver. I could see that.
I could see that too. My
Which
thing
I
is
think's
like,
good. I think it's good for him.
yeah, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. I just don't think he's like that top 10 guy that they're because he's like what moved into top 10 dynasty wide receivers right now or something
That's
like fucking
crazy. That's crazy
something
to me.
insane. Yeah, I'm not in there either.
He
Because
might
like
not even be top 4 of last year's rookie receivers for me.
I wouldn't have him there either. And I mean, I'm a hater though, like admittedly. I mean, not a hater, but it's just like the thing that pissed me off, man, was like people, I mean, a lot of people say Alan Lazard sucks, which is fine. I don't care. It is
He's
what it is.
average.
But,
He's like an average player.
right. But like the people who say that he sucks will also be like, if he sucked so bad and Christian Watson was like, there's a reason Christian Watson got all those numbers. You can't say that he sucked that. Like there's a cutoff. You know what I mean? When other players that they say goes to a different team or something like that, like an Alan Lazard type of guy will be on a team like Adam Thielen or something, and they'll be like, well, Thielen was taking targets. Like you can't have it both ways where the guy sucks, but he's also taking targets to try to account for like lack of efficiency, like for a prolonged period of time. You know what I mean? Because I've heard people point to Lazard being like healthy because Lazard was out for a couple games too. last year, if I remember correctly. And like a lot of people point to, oh, Lazard came back and Dobbs got more involved, and that's why Chris Watson's efficiency numbers went down. But like, if Lazard sucks and Dobbs wasn't like really utilized, like how are you touting him as like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, the reason that Watson didn't play earlier in the season was because he sucked. He dropped that. I'm actually surprised Rodgers still went. I mean, I guess Rodgers had no other choice. But that's the thing too. I know we're running a little long for us, but I'll finish this up. In college he had drops, in all of that. And then, he had some drops in preseason. And people were like, well, that's preseason, he's fine. And then the biggest time in games, he started having drops the first like 8 weeks. He got better in the second half. But I mean, that's something he has to work on, and people are just like disregarding it. For some players you can, but for someone at lower competition that still has those issues, I think it's something that he's going to continually have to work on. He obviously can have huge games like he did the second half of the season, but to become like a top 5 receiver, you have to, be better. He has to be better in all those aspects.
Yeah, I agree. And he was actually getting replaced by Lazard, like in terms of route trees that were ran during that time. They tried using Lazard as for running 9 routes and stuff, and he just wasn't getting separation because obviously Lazard isn't a speed guy like Watson is. I think Watson's just basically MVS, fancy MVS. I said that on Twitter. I stand by it. So we're running pretty late, but it's the first time we've talked in like 2 fucking weeks. I missed you, man. It's good talking to you.
Yeah,
let everybody.
You, even though you're trash takes.
Hey man, Mingo's gonna beat your boy Traylon Burks this season. You heard it here first. Let everybody know where they can find you at, Brandon.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at HeyB3. Find me at DLF. Articles coming out this week about Josh Downs, and like I said, watch out for that Debbie series that'll be coming out weekly starting this week.
All right, love it. And I'm Thomas Christopher, owner of the League Winners. You can check all of our fantasy football content out there, or you can find me at ThomasCP_NFL for all my Jet stuff at JetsXFactor, GangGreenNation. Flight connections are every day. Tomorrow, an article is going to drop on Brian Baldinger and Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers and his thoughts on that. Appreciate you guys checking us out. Brandon, I'll catch you later, buddy.
All right, sounds good.